Hi guys, a very warm welcome to the session here. So today we will be discussing a particular question which we have recently seen in the CAT examination, right? So recently this type of question was there in the exam. Here you can see that what has to be done. We have been given five different trainers, right? A to E, Aman, Vinod, Chitra, Deep and Isha. And there are 10 candidates, R1 to R10. Okay. Now, every particular trainer has been assigned two different candidates because you can see there are five total trainers and 10 candidates. So, every trainer has two candidates, and for every candidate, there should be only one trainer. Okay, that is what is given here. So, one candidate should be under only one trainer. It cannot be possible that R1 is under Aman also, R1 is under Deep also. That is not a possibility. But Aman should have two different candidates, Vinod should have two different candidates, Chitra two different candidates, and so on. Okay. Also, you can see the table which shows the scores of these candidates as given by these trainers. Like Aman is giving a score of 3 to R1, similarly a score of 5 to R2, similarly a score of 7 to R6, and so on. Okay, so this table shows you the total distribution of the scores given by these five different trainers to these 10 candidates in here. Okay. Now, what is given? Any candidate who is given a score of 1 by a particular trainer is assigned to that trainer. So, whenever a particular candidate gets a score of 1, that means that particular candidate should be under that particular trainer. Like here, you can see Aman. Aman is giving a score of 1 to R4. So, that means R4 should be definitely under Aman. Similarly, Binod you can see is giving a 1 to R6. That means R6 should be definitely under Binod. Similarly, Chitra is giving a 1 to R1. That means R1 should be definitely under Chitra. Similarly, Deep here you can see that's a R3. So R3 has to be definitely under Chitra here. Deep here. So R3 is getting a 1 under Deep, right? So you can see that R3 has to be definitely under Deep, isn't it? Now for Isha, can we have a definite candidate for Isha? No. Why? Because you can see there is nobody who is getting a score of 1 by Isha. So that means we cannot be sure that Isha is assigned which particular candidate. Okay. So this is the first information that we can derive from point number 1. Now what is point number 2 saying? Point number 2 says no trainer is assigned to such candidates whose total score is greater than 6. So that means for any particular trainer, let's say if we take an example of Aman, so Aman has a R4, isn't it? Aman has R4. R4 has been assigned a value 1. So that means the other candidate, whoever is the other candidate, should not give us a sum which is exceeding the value 6. That means the maximum value that we can take should be 5 or less than 5, isn't it? So you can see here that anyways we know that Aman cannot have R1 because R1 is already under Chitra, right? So this is not a possibility. Similarly, R3 is also not a possibility here because R3 is under Deep. Similarly, R4 is already assigned to him. R6 is also not a possibility because he is assigned to Binod here. Apart from that, you can see the other person who cannot be assigned here is R10, isn't it? R10 has a score of 9. So 1 plus 9 will give us a score of 10, which is not a possibility. So you can see the possibilities here are R2, right? Then we have a R5, isn't it? Then we have a R7. Then we have a R8, isn't it? Then we have a R9, right? So these are the possible persons that we can have under Aman. Similarly, for Binod also, let's check. You can see Binod can have R1. No. Why? Because it's already there under Chitra. R2, no, because this will give you a sum of 8. R3, this will give us a sum of how much? 6 plus 1, 7. So again, not possible. R4, no. Again, R4 is under Aman, so not possible. R5, yes, R5 is a possibility. So R5 can be there. R6 is already under Binod. R7, no, because this is giving us a sum of 8. 5, yes, that is R8 is possible. So we can have a R8 here, isn't it? R8 के साथ R9, yes, possible. R10 is also possible. So you can have these four possible people here, R9 and R10, isn't it? Similarly for Chitra, you can see R2, yes, it's a possibility. So R2 can be there, isn't it? R2 के बाद R3, no, not possible. R4, not possible. R5, yes, that's a possibility. So we can have R5 here, isn't it? R5 के बाद you can see R6 not possible, R7 not possible, R8 not possible, R9, R10. Yes, that's a possibility again. So you can have R9 and R10, isn't it? So these are the four people here. Now for deep, you already have R3 for deep here, isn't it? Now you can see R1 not possible, R2, yes, it's a possibility. 1 plus 3, 4. So that's possible. So you can have a R2 here, isn't it? R2 के साथ R3 we already have. R4, yes, that's also a possibility. No, why? Because Aman is already having R4, so not possible. R5, not possible. R6, yes, no, that's again not possible. R6 is under Binod, isn't it? R7, not possible. R8, not possible. R9, yes, that's a possibility. So you can see R9 can be there. Similarly, R10 also can be there, isn't it? So these are the possible people under deep, right? So these are the three people who can be there under deep. For Chitra, let's check, right? You can see we do not have a particular person for Isha, sorry. For Isha, let's check, right? For Isha, we do not know anybody right now. But we know for sure that this person R1 cannot be there because already under Chitra. R3 is already under Deep. R4 already under Aman. R6 already under Binod, right? So these persons cannot be there. Similarly, R2 is giving us 8, so not possible. This is 9, so not possible. And similarly, R10 is also 6, which is again not possible because the sum should be maximum 6, right? So one person if gets 6, other person cannot get a 0. So you can see that this is a possibility that we can have R7 here, R8 here, or a R9 here, right? So can we make an assumption here? You can see Deep should have a possibility that is R7, R8, or R8, R9, or R7, R9, or it can be, right? These are the three possibilities, combinations for Isha. That is either it has to be R7, R8, R7, R9, or R8, R9. But we know one thing here, that is R8 and R9 are not assigned to the same trainer, isn't it? So R8 and R9 cannot be a possibility. So we can understand, we can make this inference here that for Isha, either it has to be a R7, R8 or a R7, R9. है ना? So now from this one, what is a definite inference that we can make here? You can see the definite inference is that R7 should be definitely under Isha here. Why? Because R7 has to be there. You can see the two combinations has one common person, that is R7. So R7 who is getting a score of 3 from Isha, you can see R7 is 3, isn't it? So R7 who is getting a score of 3 from Isha has to be definitely there. Now 3 plus R8, what is the possibility? You can see 3 plus R8, that is 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So this is a possibility. R7 and R9, what will be the sum here? R7 is 3. R9 is how much? That is your 4, isn't it? So this will give us a R9, that is 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. Now 7 is not a possibility because the maximum score that we can have as a sum for any particular trainer has to be 6. It cannot exceed 6, isn't it? So that means this is not a possibility. Hence we know that this should be the person that is your R8. So you can see the combination has to be how much? It has to be R7 plus R8, isn't it? So it has to be R7, R8 here. Chalo, let's write it down. So you can see the combination has to be R7, R8 with a total of, you can see R7 is how much? 3. 2 is R8. So that means sum of 5, isn't it? So this is sum of 5 here. So if R8 is under Isha, R8 cannot be under any other person. So you can see, you can eliminate R8 from here. You can eliminate R8 from here also, right? So R8 has been eliminated. Similarly, R7 is also under Isha, है ना? So if R7 is here, you can eliminate R7 from here, है ना? So R7 is eliminated from here. So this is the tree that we are getting right now. ठीक है? आगे देखते हैं. Let's see what else do we have here. Also, you can see that it is given in the fourth condition, only the candidates assigned to Binod has the highest sum of scores. Now, only Binod, only word suggests what? That is only one person, that is Binod, has the maximum sum assigned to his candidates and that cannot exceed 6, isn't it? Now, Isha already has a sum of 5 for her candidates. That means Binod should give us a sum of 6, which should be assigned only by Binod. It should not be assigned by any other trainer here. So Binod should be the only trainer who is giving the maximum scores here as a sum. So that means Binod has to be greater than Isha. That means the only possibility will be Binod has a sum of 6, isn't it? Now if Binod has a sum of 6 here, you can see R6 is how much? R6 is 1. Now R5 is how much? You can see that's a 5. So 1 plus 5, absolutely possible. That gives us a 6. R1, that is R9. You can see R6 plus R9. How much is R9? That's a 4. So 1 plus 4 will give us a 5, which is not giving us the maximum value. Similarly, R10 will also not give us a maximum value. So you can see here that the possibility will be what? R5, right? So we will have a R6 and R5 here. Okay. So with R6, we will have a definite R5. So if R5 is here, you can see R5 cannot be here. Okay, R5 is removed from here. Similarly, R5 cannot be here also, isn't it? So you can see the value has to be R6, R5. And now R6, R5 is here. I hope this is clear, everybody. Okay. So now you can see R6, R5 gives us a what? R6, R5 gives us a sum of 6, isn't it? This is giving us a sum of 6. Now, sum of 6 should be exclusive for Binod. It should not be used by any other trainer here. Now, for Aman, let's see what is about Aman. Aman already has R4, that is 1. Now, 1 plus R2. R2 is how much? That is 5. Is it a possibility? No. Why? Because sum of 6 is not possible for any other trainer here. If Aman takes R2, so R4 plus R2 will give us a 6, isn't it? So you can see that's not a possibility. R4 is how much? 1. R2 is how much? 5. So 1 plus 5, 6. It's not possible. That means Aman should have a R9, isn't it? So he will have a R9 here. So if R9 is here, that means R9 cannot be here, and similarly R9 cannot be here as well. Okay. So now you can see that Aman has R4 and R9. Now how much is this sum here? You can see R4 is 1, R9 is 3. So 1 plus 3, that is your 4. So sum of 4 is under Aman. Okay, this is your Aman here, sum of 4. I hope everybody is clear with this question till now. So now we are left with Chitra and Deep. You can see Chitra can be either R1, R2 or R1, R10. Similarly, Deep can be R3, R2 or R3, R10. Okay. Now let's see what is given next. It is also given that the sum of the scores of candidates assigned to D is not the lowest one. So for Deep, you can see for Deep, what are the possibilities? Either it has to be a R3, R2 or it has to be a R3, R10, isn't it? Either it has to be a R3, R2 or it has to be R3, R10. If you take R3 and R2 for Deep, okay, R3 that is 1 and R2 here that is your 3, isn't it? So 1 plus 3 that gives us a 4. So you will be getting a 4, that's okay. R3, R10, what will happen if we have R3, R10? R3 is 1, R10 is how much? That is your 2. So 1 plus 2 gives us a 3. So either for Deep, it has to be a sum of 4 or it has to be a sum of 3, isn't it? Sum of 4 is possible. Sum of 3, if it is the lowest one, we cannot have it for him. Let's check for Chitra also, right? What is happening with Chitra here? Chitra ke liye dekho. Chitra is, you can see Chitra can have two possibilities. That is either a R1, R2 or a R1, R10, isn't it? Either of the two possibilities. R1, R2 is how much for Chitra? You can see R1, R2 is giving us a 5 and that's possible. R1, R10, you can see R1 is 1 and R10 is how much? That's your 3. 1 plus 3. So that means you can again see 1 plus 3 is a 3 here. Now, let's understand. If Deep gets a 3, that is Deep gets a 3, that means he should have R3 and R10, right? So, if Deep gets R3, R10, that means Chitra should have R1, R2 because R10 is under Deep here. So, R1, R2 will give her a 5 here, sum of 5. But that means that Deep will have the lowest sum because he will have a sum of 3 and Chitra will have a sum of 5 and others have anyways 4 and 6 or 5 here, isn't it? So, that means Deep would be the lowest here. है ना? So that means R3, R10 cannot be a combination for Deep here. So that means he should be having a R3, R2 here. Okay. So he should have a R3 and R2. So you can see R2 is here. That means Chitra will be R1 and R10. I hope this is clear, right? So Chitra will be R1 and R10. And similarly, Deep will be assigned R3 and R2. Now what are the sums here? You can see, you can write down the sums for Chitra. That is R1 and R10. You can see that's a sum of 3. isn't it? And for deep, it's a R3 and R2. That is your how much? That is your 4. So sum of 4, isn't it? So this is the final arrangement that you will be getting. Now, any question can be asked on the basis of this particular table. That is, who is the trainer of R5, or what is the sum of the total that is entitled by Chitra, right? That is given by Chitra here. Any difference can be there. Any question can be framed on the basis of this particular table. I hope this was clear to everybody. Okay? So in case you have any doubts, you can feel free to talk to me on Telegram. I'll be happy to help you out with it. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this particular session. In case you have doubts, feel free to talk to me on Telegram. I'll be happy to help you out with it. So please take care, stay safe, have a great day. I'll see you soon. Thank you.